I'm Morey White.
I'm Tracey White.
And I'm Pastor Johnny Leckie, and this is the Compass Conversation Podcast.
Yes!
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 Yes! Yes! Yes, it is.
Fading to black.
We will follow you. You have the name above every name. We will follow you, King Jesus.
Yes! 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 Totally back.
All right, here, show the camera.
It's
Put it on me here.
like Gordon Ramsay. Yes, yes, fresh, yes, yes.
We're on day 837 of the quarantine.
You know what I didn't do?
What didn't you do?
All the time.
I didn't start the timer.
Okay, that's all I wanted to do.
Oh.
I just wanted my theatrical moment there.
It was your...
My quarantine beard, it will be going away, I think, this week.
Yeah. It's good.
Maybe.
It's pretty thick. Truly, I mean, you need to have like a...
And gray.
I envision you with like a crew neck sweater out on a ship. I've asked you, mate.
Oh, you know what's funny
maybe.
is we did a Zoom call with the family yesterday.
Yes,
Oh, cool,
afternoon.
yeah.
And I did have the conure, our bird, on my shoulder, which is like a miniature parrot, right?
See, that would have been a great picture.
Yeah, arg.
You know, what is a, reminds me, what is a pirate's favorite letter?
I know this one, so I had
Pirate's favorite letter.
We both know this one, Johnny.
we know. It's not R.
It's R.
Oh, it's R!
You'd think it'd be R, but no, it'd be the C. I know. You guys went blank because
I'm
you
sorry.
wanted to say the original. I think I've told you that before. That's so stupid.
Well, you know what, though? If somebody knows it,
R.
they go, oh, it's C. No, you'd think it'd be C, but it'd be the R.
Not quite as funny, but at least you won't be had by them.
True.
Oh, my goodness. We're just plugging on. Welcome to the podcast.
We've come to this.
It's come to this. This is
People
what
in
happens.
person, you know, we've been seeing people in
I was talking to
Face to face.
to different people, and actually on the Zoom call yesterday with the family, I mentioned that projects are getting done, and that's that is a result of quarantine.
Yeah.
It's one of the downsides.
Yep.
Of course.
So yeah, Leo and I were
Projects
talking
are getting
about that.
done.
Yeah, we're like, we can't say we haven't had time. Although the truth is, I've been swamped during quarantine. I mean, a lot of stuff doing.
There's been work.
But you can't really just say, hey, we just haven't had any time at all. If only things would slow down a little.
Yeah.
Well, Julie and I
Although
like
we've
to
been-
go on the weekends. We just like to, whether it be a Saturday or
Yeah,
sometimes
that's
we do a
right.
full weekend.
You do.
Sure.
Then we just go.
Yep.
So yeah,
Had
that's
been-
different for us.
So we went to urgent care today with Kathy.
Yes.
We just talked about it, but
Yep.
her shoulder is killing her.
I know we were praying about that.
Yeah,
this week,
and
so-
like she can't pick it up or forward or do her hair or anything like that.
Can she scratch her back? Well, she has the other.
She's got the other hand.
Okay.
She has
yeah,
it
but
free.
she's
She can
left-handed.
just have an 80s one-sided ponytail.
There we go.
She doesn't have to use this hand.
Please don't give her any ideas.
She'd look great. It'll be fine.
Anyway, we'll keep you guys up to date on how that goes. MRI is next.
So sorry.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Oh, I did want to mention kudos to Jennifer, our sister.
Yes.
Family call and everything, but she is a nurse and
yeah.
works in a hospital and has potential for exposure every single day. That she's at work.
Yeah,
And
God bless her.
they're really careful with that and everything. Let me tell you something though. That we had everybody in our immediate family on the call. All the kids were on the call,
At one point or
and mom and
another.
dad were
Yeah.
on the call. Yep, everybody was there.
Even grandkids.
That's
even
fun.
yeah.
Isn't that
It's-
fun?
So it was really great. So like all three of my children were on there. Your two were
The
on
two
there.
were there.
Yeah.
All three of my sister's kids were on there.
I know it's
And
amazing.
then the three of us siblings, and then mom and dad, and then a couple of the kids' significant others, which was just wonderful, and we loved every bit of it. And then Jen was like, we should do this again, I mean, why does it take a quarantine to go, oh, we can keep up with each other digitally?
That's funny.
If they only had something like Facebook where we could.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like Facebook. Facebook
Yeah.
is a cesspool.
It can certainly be, for sure.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we did something like that last week, I think it was. And it was like people in Alaska, people in Tennessee. Then my son Matthew came on too with their kids, and it was just like a screen full of all these people.
Yeah.
There was that kind of pause at one moment where it was like, we're all just looking at each other, like, I don't even know what to say. Or who to say it to.
Yeah.
But Leon's dad's awesome because he's getting up in years, but he's just amazed by the technology. So every time someone new would pop on, he's like, "Oh, would you look at that? Oh my goodness! That's awesome, Lenny. Can you see? What? Look at that! That is really neat.
That's pretty cool.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was funny. And don't you just wish that about 3 months ago, you'd really heavily invested in Zoom?
Right? Oh.
Wow. Well, I'm telling you, streaming's not going to go away.
No, we're going to keep using it.
It
for
has
sure.
become something that people are accustomed to now.
Yeah.
I think.
there were a lot
more.
before, but much more now.
Much more.
Yeah. Well, I also think that, like I said, just people keeping up with each other. It's like, oh yeah, we can do this rather than texting or calling. We can all get together as a family, so which is great.
Stop that.
That was someone calling.
No,
Anyway.
that was somebody at my door.
Oh, very cool.
Food delivery. Maybe.
Oh no, Morgan getting home. I'm sure.
I'm waiting for my food delivery. Well, it's not really delivery. It's after this. Salmon
It's
burgers.
DiGiorno,
Salmon
No,
burgers.
it's salmon burgers.
which we are not sponsored by.
Right. But
Unless you'd like to. It's Johnny at compassnever.com. Some running jokes never die.
No.
That'd be fun though, wouldn't it? Somebody just
I know, right?
sponsor you.
So apparently there is a new song around John 3:16.
What?
Which one is
Who
this?
does this?
It's called John 3:16. I don't know. My mom and dad were talking about the John 3:16 song, and they call it my song.
Morey's
Our
song.
song.
Morey's, in parentheses, Morey's song.
Yeah. And it's all because of the podcast. It really is this Compass conversation.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That is why.
That's why they called it.
They call it. Yeah.
That's great though. What a great verse to be known about.
Right. I'm cool with that. I'm
What is
way
that?
cool with
What do you mean, John 3:16? John 3:16? You
Yeah,
say?
for God so loved the world. I mean, he loved the world. That he gave his only son, which is part of him,
Yeah.
so that
3 and 1.
whoever believes in him is not going to perish, but is going to have eternal life with him. That's the cool part.
Love it.
yeah.
Not just eternal life.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
John 3:16.
I paraphrased a tad.
A little bit, but that's okay.
That's all right. You got the gist of it.
Yeah.
It's good. You should know it by now.
I do.
But
I need to know it in all the versions.
yeah, you should be able to
You
say
do that in
first
the Morey
CSB, now the KJV, and now the NLT, and now I shall
And
go
the
to
AMW.
NIV.
King Jimmy says. Well, old King Jimmy says.
That version was the AMW version.
For thou loveth the world.
I memorized it in the KJV years
Right.
ago, so it's still accurate and good. All right, well, anywho. It's going to be one of these kind of podcasts, I can tell.
That's okay.
Good, though.
Question number 4, which you.
Speaking
in
of
our-
streaming, we
right?
did a live stream Sunday.
Oh, Mom and Dad were tuning into the podcast, last week's podcast, rather than watching our live stream yesterday.
So they were watching the podcast during our service?
Yes.
Now, because they couldn't find a live stream on YouTube, we're like, it's on Facebook. not YouTube. So next week, they'll probably join us.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
At any rate,
I've thought about taking it from Facebook and then posting it as if it's live on YouTube in the afternoon.
That's a good idea.
There you go.
They'll watch it.
It'll be fun. We'll see.
There you go. It'll work.
Well, they're welcome to watch it. But you were saying, we actually moved to question number 4. That's right. And for clarity, if this is the first time you've seen the podcast, we've been asking questions of ourselves about where we are in our spiritual growth. First one had to do with, does my sin
Sin.
bother me?
Sin.
The second one was about, do I have a growing love for others? Third one had to do with the fruit of the Spirit evident and growing in my life. And then finally we've gotten to, well, it's not finally, but next we're on question 4.
How many questions? Are there 12 questions? Because this is like month 4 and we're on the 4th.
There are 365 questions.
It's going to be a long series.
You're never going to grow up spiritually. No. Yeah, no. I believe there are 7.
All right.
I have to look at my notes again. I'm just taking it from week to week now with those
You
questions.
want to refresh us on number 4? I can't remember the wording. Do you remember? Do you have your sermon notes from yesterday?
Am I connected with other believers?
Right. Yeah.
And I said it that way on purpose.
Okay.
Now we've talked about this because my mom always said,
Yeah,
"You need to go fellowship with others."
Yeah.
That's right. And I actually we had a little bit of a teaser in last week's podcast because we talked about that subject just a little bit near the end.
Yeah.
And I hesitated too, honestly, because it's been in the notes for a long time. That the prep for this and the kind of planning has been in the works for a long time. Mm-hmm. But I went back to look and went, oh wow, that's the question that's next week. It's one of those like, of all time. My first thought was of all times to say this because it's about church. It's about being a part of church.
Yes.
And my first thought was, oh Lord, of all times when we can't be together physically.
I know.
And then I realized, oh, this is actually a great thing to be talking about because it's
Right.
Yeah.
it is that, but it's it's so much more than that too. So it also gets us ready for when we get together again.
Yeah, because a connection doesn't always necessarily require a physical presence, right?
Yeah.
I know
That's
that
true.
helps.
Yeah, we were just
It
talking about
definitely
Zoom.
helps.
Sure.
Yep. So that's...
Yeah, that's exactly right. But I mean, the main point of it was the idea that if you are a follower of Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
that it is a personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's an individual thing. You can't rely on your parents and say when you die and you're standing before God, well, my parents were believers and I went to church all the time. How am I? Am I okay?
Yeah.
I didn't care about you my whole life, but but they did. Is that okay? And that doesn't work. So it's a personal thing. Your salvation is personal, but spiritual growth does not happen really outside of the context of community. And God designed that to be church.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a landmine-y kind of statement. But it's true. If you're going to grow, and that's really what we're talking about, spiritual growth, right? You have to be around other people for a multitude of reasons. I've barely touched on. We just introduced it a little bit Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, it is in our nature to be around those with common interests. And if you play in the dirt, you're going to get it on you. So, but I said it a clean way. But
Thank you, bro.
The other is true.
Play in the dirt.
Yes.
That's a great point. It's a good illustration. It's an ironic one, but funny.
Well, it's the same kind of thing. You have that desire to hang out with others whenever that is your focus in your life.
Yeah,
you
of
have
course.
And you like to hang out with those that have common belief. That's our nature, is to hang, be with common people.
Yes.
Now that doesn't exclude us from, going out and preaching to the world.
Right.
That just means on a regular basis we like to get together
Exactly.
on Mondays. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to talk, not go talk to my friend. We'll call him
Fred.
Bob.
Fred.
Fred. What'd you say? Bruce? Fred
I
Bruce.
said Bob.
Fred Bob Bruce.
We have a Bob friend, so we can't
Bob.
use Bob.
Your friend Fred. Okay, so your friend Fred Bob Bruce is what?
Oh, I can't go talk.
I know I can't say it good
He has some issues.
Right.
But no, so you can go talk and spread the word.
Well, here's the interesting thing about that too, Morey, because that's an excellent thing to say. Because when churches, the beautiful thing is that we need to be together to grow. But if we, as a group of believers, as a church, are not functioning as a church is supposed to function,
Right.
then things begin to sour.
Yes.
Because we're turned inward to ourselves. We're more concerned about, what kind of cheer I'm in and how good was that message and how good was that music, and everything becomes critical. And when we flip it around, we're going to talk more about this next week, and I'm very excited about this part of talking about church. We lose... when we get together, we spur one another on, encourage one another, lock arms on mission.
Yes.
And so to be a part of church actually enhances your ability to actually be on mission with Jesus. And that means, I'm using a little bit of lingo there on mission, but what I mean is being willing to share that good news with other people who aren't a part of church yet.
Yeah. It's kind of a natural thing when it's something that you fully believe in. To share, to be on mission, but being with others helps definitely.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. Also, it's so easy if all of us have the best of intentions. Let's just say I've devoted my life, I've given my life to Jesus, and we have to pour into one another.
That's right.
Not right now.
And I say, I'm going to, it's personal to me individually. I'm going to grow spiritually. I don't really need to be around anybody. Well, first, we're already disobeying Jesus.
Right.
In that. So you're not going to grow past blatant disobeying Jesus.
Right.
But even if you're doing that in ignorance, right? Not too many people do that intentionally.
Right.
I would never say that. But let's say that you have good intentions. You think, I'm going to read a Bible, I'm going to learn, I'm going to grow spiritually. Netflix, YouTube, cat videos, they have too big of a draw, right? I mean, most of us aren't doing that. Those who are saying, I don't need to be connected to any other Christian, as a Christian, they're not really doing any kind of spiritual discipline. They have nobody holding them accountable. They have nobody encouraging them. There's nobody helping them when they're struggling in those things. Anyway, and there are things they can't do on a bigger level to reach people and combine efforts and things. Anyway, so many, right? I'm not going to preach the message now. I've already, I'm ahead of the game.
People can tune in.
Tune in.
Yeah.
Join us Sunday.
Speaking as someone who's been there,
Yeah.
right? Because none of us are perfect. We all make some mistakes, and sometimes they're pretty big ones. And,
Yes.
it was easy for me to blame, and I'm talking about me specifically, to blame a church for, and what that did is that in my head absolved me from my wrongdoings. Now,
They were jerks. They were mean. They were
right.
whatever.
And you know what? Whenever that hits you, that it's not about them, then it really hits hard, and that's then you come back, and that's whenever you need
Yes.
the extra strength of all of those around you. And the reason I bring that up is because there are a lot of Christians who been hurt by people.
Yeah.
And really that's it. It's by people. It's
Yeah.
not the church, it's the actions of some people. And it happens. And it's a terrible, terrible thing. And it's really easy at that point to say, yes, the church was mean. The church did this. When the reality is, this person did this. And it's really bad that they did that. I need to forgive them, and I need to get back, and then to have the support of the church, or the real church.
Yeah. Well, think about it. If all the people who passionately want to follow Jesus leave that church,
Yeah.
who's left? Whoa. But I was going to say, and this now I'm going to get kind of pastorally, spiritually here for a minute, and just say that I really believe that Satan, right, the devil, the enemy, spends more time in churches than he does out, around people who aren't, because he knows he's got them, right? People who haven't placed their faith in Jesus, Satan's not worried about them.
Yeah.
But if he can get Christians off track, we'll never tell them, right? So if we're turned down, we're arguing, we're bickering. So he spends a lot of time getting Christians off track in churches.
You know what that reminds me of?
What's that?
Screw tape letters.
Yeah, the Screw Tape Letters
Right.
by our friend C.S. Lewis.
C.S. Lewis. Yeah. So
He's our
there's.
friend.
Have you ever read that?
No.
You got to
not
read it. It's actually pretty cool. But there's this
I'm kind of
lesser.
impressed that you know about C.S. Lewis and the Screw Tape Letters.
Oh yeah, no, it's great because one of
fantastic.
the this tempter, minor tempter, demon, whatever,
Named Screwtape.
named Screwtape, he's told, okay, well now the guy's going to church, so it's following this guy through his life, right? Now he's going to church, so all you have to do is turn his attention away just a little bit about what she's wearing,
Yeah.
just little distractions to get him off. So that's what the whole book is about.
Yeah, now I think I got it backwards. There's Wormwood and there's Screw Tape. Who's the uncle and who's the nephew?
Wormwood's the uncle, right? And Screwtape is the
Is the one he's writing the letters to.
yeah.
I think that's right.
I might have to read it.
It's
It's a
been a
long
while.
time ago. Yeah.
It's sitting on my shelf. I have to go back and look.
Yeah, but I mean, it's really compelling.
Very clever.
Yeah, very clever. But it makes you think about yeah, man, those are ways that we're tempted on a daily basis.
Sure.
Just little things that will start to steer you off, But
Devil's Perry.
but I remember, yeah, that's right.
One of
But I
those.
remember that very specific in the church. Well, he's in church, so just kind of distracted.
Yeah. Well, and just for a personal story here, my father, I've told you guys about my dad. He was a hilarious guy, kind of quiet. I wish you guys could have met him before he passed away. He was a Christian, had a major life change in his life. He had 3 young boys. I mean, he had, I think, 1 boy at the time, and he became a Christian. My mom started going to church and brought those little kiddos up. But my dad he worked as a paint mixer at Sherwin-Williams Paint
Yes.
Company. It's a position that doesn't even exist anymore. It's a machine that does that. And, he did all kinds of things. He was a bellhop at one time. One of the fun stories of my growing up was that my dad was a bellhop when he met my mom, who was, get this, an elevator operator. Wow. That's how long ago that was.
Oh, that's cool.
But anyway, the thing is, he would meet people at church, and many of these guys at this particular church were businessmen and worked downtown in Shreveport, Louisiana, and they were wearing the coats and ties and stuff during the week, and they were all like, "Hey, Brother Bill," and they'd pat him on the back and all that stuff. But when they would see him during the week walking down the sidewalk, they would ignore him.
Wow.
And it really just soured my dad.
Yeah,
He just ended up stepping away from church, and he didn't make himself never go, but he just really backed away. And then the ultimate irony, he had 3 sons that went into ministry for a period of time. But I'll never forget my dad saying, particularly to my older brother, who was going to be a pastor, he said, he was concerned about my brother being a pastor. Because he said, "Son, some of the meanest people I've ever met are in church."
Yeah, that's
There's no doubt.
And that's
believe
true
that,
sometimes,
yeah,
for
sometimes.
sure. But anyway,
But the
that's
vast
why.
majority of believers are not.
That's what I wanted to say. And that's what we're going to be talking about over the next few weeks. How do we keep from becoming that kind of church, because it's not the heart of Jesus. That's not what he wants for us. And there's so much scripture that can keep us from ever being in that trouble and having our churches become like that.
I think it's our responsibility, and I'm just saying, those that are, we're a smaller church, so there is a core, and even if we were bigger, it is our responsibility to be on guard for those that have been hurt.
Yes.
Like that. It's
Because there are many, and that's what I was saying. I don't want to excuse churches. Because even as you said, yes, we have our personal responsibility, but also
Yes.
I'm a little annoyed at those churches where there were groups of people or individuals and it wasn't dealt with properly maybe, and they were mean to somebody or
we've
whatever.
seen churches split.
Yeah, it's awful.
Everything.
Yep.
There's so many denominations.
Yeah.
And the truth is, we're here for one.
Yeah, I know.
The one.
I know.
We're not here for many.
Yeah.
So I don't understand the split anymore. I don't get it now. because at the time I understood the pettiness of it all, and because I understood the world a lot more than I do now, and it's something that's really interesting. Is
You understood the world more then than you do now,
yeah,
or the other way around?
no,
Now than then.
no,
You were you were a part of the world.
I was part of it, so I understood it. I understood it more, and now that I understand Christ more,
I got you.
understanding the extreme difference of that, it's hard to understand why there are so many divisions. We grew up Church of Christ. They didn't play music. Does it really matter? God still came to send his son to this earth and to a cross to pay that ultimate sacrifice for whether you play music or not.
Even for those sinning churches that played music.
whether you dance or not.
I will just
Whether you raise hands or not.
Just for clarity, and this is what I always have to say, because I go through this. No, that's what you're telling your experience, and that's important. That's so important because so many other people have the exact same experience, Morey.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I love the church. Okay,
Yes.
that's what I want to say. First of all, love it. Because Jesus loves the church, right? We
Yes.
talked about that Sunday in the biggest possible way. And so I look at them, it's like when I see, I'm not sure this is the best illustration, but I mean, like in the same way I care about my kids and they go astray, I don't not love them anymore. I want to help them.
You want to help them.
I don't
right?
just want to go, you're stupid and out of here. I want to say, man, how can I help them?
Right.
And there's so many churches, and it's okay that there are churches that have kind of different shades of understanding of certain things. And, it's cool as long as we're all together on the basics, right? So I have friends in a variety of denominations and churches, and I've had great conversations with them, and we always focus on the things we know we agree on.
Yeah.
And we share fellowship with each other, and that's the way it should be. It's okay to disagree on certain things.
Well,
I just realized
that's where
I love the
denomination-
Church of Christ too.
Yes. Yeah, we love
There were wonderful people.
See, I like
And-
that there's a bunch of
yeah.
different churches.
Yeah.
Because to different people, they want their comfort level is going to be in different places.
Sure.
Right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
somebody might be more comfortable in a church that only does a cappella music.
Yeah.
And somebody might be more comfortable raising hands and dancing around.
Sure.
Somebody might be more comfortable somewhere in the middle where you just right. So that's what I really appreciate about all these different churches. So a lot of times it's like, oh, well, why are there so many different churches? Well, because people have different traditions. But when it comes down to it, the core of what we all believe.
Yeah,
is
well, we
the
hope
same.
so. Certainly, there's
Yep.
certain churches who have deviated, of course.
We understand that
But-
there's going to be the outliers, but by and large, there's.
I probably used the wrong example. What I was referring to are where people have split over something as trivial as that.
Yeah, it wasn't over whether Jesus came to save us. It wasn't over whether Jesus was divine. It was,
Right. I
it was
think
over
it should have been a
smaller
little more
thing.
clear.
Whether or not we were going to have service at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock.
Yeah, what color the
That's kind of
paint?
important.
Yes.
What color the paint of the wall? What color?
10
Yeah. Where are we?
Classic
We've been on it.
I'm sorry. We got
That's okay, but here's what I wanted to say. It's every now and then, jokingly, I will refer to us as the Church of the Beautiful Mess, right?
yes.
Yes.
Because we are a beautiful mess, and the church is kind of like that too. Church is not just the building. It's not just a style of a worship service. It is people who have been saved by Jesus. They place their faith in Him. They're followers of Him. But we're still people, and we're still living here on planet Earth. And so that we have some different perspectives. Now, all that said, we should be obviously pursuing as accurate a doctrine as we possibly
Absolutely.
can.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
Just to be clear.
Absolutely.
But that there are some things we can agree to disagree on, and whenever that becomes a point where it's like we can't agree, I think it's okay to go ahead if you're not like angry at each other and
Yeah.
do your thing, man. Grow right there, and you grow right there, and we'll still love each other. But I think we'll accomplish more because of this point of disagreement.
Yeah.
But again, love conquers all in that,
I
and how we disagree with one another is incredibly important. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's good stuff, Morey. So, yeah, so I started off saying, Satan's in churches, and that my dad left church, But I have not, and neither of my brothers in my family. And he didn't really either. He just saw the hypocrites there, and he just felt like, all right, I'm not going to go there.
That's tough to get over sometimes.
Yeah, what I wish my father had done, honestly. And again, this is not a slam on him. At all, but in retrospect, it's like, if that was me back then,
Call him out. I would have. Come on,
Hindsight.
well,
you pat me on the back at church.
well, here's what I'm
You won't
saying.
even say hi to me walking down the street.
One of two things. Yeah, call them out. I thought you said I should call my dad.
No,
out. He
no,
would have.
Tracy would. He doesn't
I
really
would.
have a filter.
That's
I'm just
me.
saying.
Yeah.
No, this is good because speak the truth, but do it in love, and that's what I was gonna say. That he would actually talk to those guys, and I think a few of them might have realized they didn't really realize they were doing that, and so he may have perceived it wrong, and there could have been a great moment of healing and learning from everyone, and that would have been better. The other thing was if he just couldn't have worked that out, that he said, all right, family, we're going to play blessing on these guys, but we're going to go join another fellowship
Yeah,
with believers
right.
right now, and not just say, well, the whole thing, I'm out.
Right.
So anyway.
Man, I was finding little bitty picky things to be all upset about. Let me tell you.
Well, sometimes we look for things because we want to.
And that was exactly. Now, here's the truth, though. Christianity is absolutely perfect and wonderful. People
Or not.
are not.
We're flawed. This is why we've been asking these questions of ourselves.
That's right.
There was on our devotional
What do we need to grow?
today. There was something there.
Already.
Well, I'm going to give you this anyway.
All right.
We may falter and fail, but God doesn't want us to focus on our own shortcomings. Instead, He wants us to set our focus on Him. That is not what I wanted to see. The Father, it's a
good point.
The Father evaluates our lives not according to our ability to remain faithful, but according to His faithfulness in the work that was accomplished at Calvary. So,
Yeah, that's true. Charles Stanley is the author. This is a Bible reading plan as a church we've been doing this past week. I think it's based on a book by Charles Stanley, actually, but he was a pastor in Georgia, for those who don't know.
yeah.
But anyway, we want to be the church. There's so much more we could talk about. We love the church. We love each other.
Yep.
We're going to grow. The beautiful thing about us being kind of a smaller church right now, too, is it helps us to establish these things early on.
Right.
So it's not just me standing up at the, in the pulpit.
Yeah.
Big giant pulpit. We're going to have this big giant pulpit. Yeah, that's what we call it. Not just me saying these things, but like when somebody, Morey, starts to cause some division or dissension, and they say, "Hey, what do you think? Hey, Morey, what do you think about this?" Da, 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 da. You go, "Hey, that's not how we do this.
Yeah.
We love each other. We talk to one another. If you've got something against so and so, I can go
let's
with you,
talk
but
about it.
yeah, let's talk to them. Don't talk behind their back.
Right.
Yeah.
We talk to their face, and we love each other. So that's where all of us growing, we have to together build up that barrier to keep us from becoming.
What do the churches had that?
A church doesn't like that.
in the first century.
Yeah, many of them.
Well, many of them did. There was one specifically.
Church in Corinth.
Corinth,
certainly
that's
has
the one I was
a
thinking
problem.
about.
Yeah.
And
They
that's
weren't
why
the
all the
only
love
one.
stuff. That was all the love stuff.
They weren't the only one.
We got
We're gonna have
some
so much
letters to
fun.
churches that were having more than one church that was having
Well,
difficulty.
yeah, most of the New Testament is letters to churches.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, a big chunk of it. But we're going to have a good time talking about this because I am passionate about it. I hope I don't get too passionate about it. Sunday, I was just too jittery about it. But it wasn't my coffee.
No, it wasn't.
I thought it was the coffee, but really, I think it was the combination of having a couple of extra cups of coffee, but I'm usually okay. But
Yeah.
I hadn't had enough sleep the night
Oh,
before.
yeah.
that
Gets
I just realized I couldn't sleep. I was kind of up and I was trying to read, and it was like 1:30 before I actually got to
Oh,
sleep.
yeah, that'll
Then
do
I
it.
got up at 6, I think,
Eesh.
which is a little later than normally on a Sunday. So I was, Yeah, I was hitting wrong notes on the guitar. I mean, there were a lot of things I was off. But Leona said, no, Leona was too close to the phone, man. She was too close to the camera because she kept sniffing and stuff. She's a little embarrassed by that. So.
Oh, she shouldn't.
We'll talk
We
about
love you.
that.
Don't be embarrassed. We love
Please
you.
don't be embarrassed.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the sound after this.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, I think
We're
we've
gonna
got to
fix it.
shut this down because we're out of time, right, guys?
All right.
Pretty much, yeah.
Enjoy talking to you.
Yeah.
All right.
Likewise.
Final words?
I think it's still going.
You know, I was kind of blah today, but I'm feeling
Here, let me focus on you.
better with this conversation.
Good.
I really appreciate
Same here.
it, guys.
Good.
It was nothing bad happened today.
Yeah, good. Well, good.
Just one of those.
Yeah, blah days.
Just kind of, I'm tired. I'm tired of being in
I'm
the
hungry.
house. Yeah, I am
Again.
hungry. I was hungry
again,
already.
too.
Like
But
so.
I feel much better. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, now we're at final
All right.
word.
All right.
Love you guys. Love all y'all.
Peace.
Grace and peace to you. That's all we have for tonight. You can always see us at compassdenver.com, and we hope to see you really soon. That's all we got. We're out.